Jason Voorhees here from Sideserf Cake Studio, and I'm gonna show you how I made a Friday the 13th cake. On this very YouTube channel, I have videos showing you how I make cake versions of Freddy Krueger, I have Michael Myers, I have Pennywise, so naturally, it's time for a Jason cake. We're getting closer and closer to Halloween, so that means I'm putting out Halloween cakes. Some are spooky like this one, and some are gonna be pretty cute. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. And if you like my cakes, please consider giving this video a like, because it really helps us to reach more people. Just kidding, guys. It's not Jason, it's Natalie Sideserf. So let's get started. Here I have a custom-made cake board of the neck and the chin of Jason that is covered in gray modeling chocolate. And I'm stacking chocolate cake with vanilla buttercream between the layers. Now I'm carving the top of the head with a serrated knife. So this is a life-sized cake bust of Jason Voorhees, so the head is larger than your average human head. It's a pretty big noggin. Jason is massive, so his cake head needs to be massive. The cake is carved, so now I'm spreading a thin layer of buttercream over the entire cake with an offset spatula. So this buttercream will seal in the cake's moisture, and it's gonna give it a nice smooth surface so I can cover it in a final layer of modeling chocolate. I'm trimming away the excess chocolate with scissors, and I'm blending the chocolate with sculpting tools. I don't want any seams to show. The idea is to hide it so that the cake looks like it's one solid piece, even though we all know there's a cake board with cake stacked inside. Jason's head and skin are pretty lumpy, so I'm not too worried about taking too much time to make sure that everything is perfectly smooth. I feel like that would just be a waste of my time, and time is something that you don't have a lot of when you're making a sculpted cake. I'm sculpting Jason's hockey mask out of a layer of ivory modeling chocolate. So I just place it right onto the cake, and then I make sure it's nice and secure, and I cut out that oval shape of the mask. The placement of the eyes, nose, and all those holes is absolutely key to make sure that this looks like a real hockey mask. So I start with the eye placement, and then I determine all the other features based off of the eye holes. Jason Voorhees is the main character in the Friday the 13th slasher film series. Part 1 of the series came out in 1980, and there are 12 films so far. There's a TV series, there's comics, novels, video games, and a boatload of merchandise. Like this mask that I'm wearing right now. I have actually watched all 12 of these films in order. And let me tell you, it is all over the place. So continuity is kind of out the window from movie to movie. That being said, if you're into horror films and you haven't already seen these, the series is really, really fun to watch. And horror aside, there's also quite a bit of humor sprinkled throughout the films, which are my favorite moments. His look throughout the films changes quite a bit. So in the first film, Jason is a child. In the second film, Jason wears a burlap bag over his head with 2 eye holes cut out. And then finally, in Friday the 13th Part 3, that's where we see him in his super famous hockey mask. The super famous mask that we all know and love. Now I'm sculpting Jason's eyes. So I chose to add the mask before sculpting the eyes, and that was on purpose. I know myself, and I know how I work, and I know that if I take the time to sculpt the eyes first, and then I place the chocolate mask on top, that there's a good chance that the placement of the eyes wouldn't be exactly where they need to be to make sure that the hockey mask proportions are correct. In Friday the 13th Part 3, Jason gets an axe to the noggin, which cuts through the forehead area of the mask. So I'm carving this axe mark into the cake mask. In most of the films after Part 3, they actually kept that axe mark in the mask, which I think is pretty neat. It's like a little reminder of Jason's previous experiences. The inspiration for this Jason bust cake is a bit of a mix of all the films. Well, almost all the films. I left out, any inspiration from Jason X because I don't know what that was. But anyway, I definitely reference his look from part 3 and from Freddy vs. Jason. So he's wearing a t-shirt and a jacket. Here I'm giving Jason a scalp massage, and that's because I want to add some lumps and some bumps to his head. And now it's time to paint. In some of the films, Jason has more realistic skin tones, and in other films, he's a little bit more gray and monster-like in color. So I'm running with both. I'm starting out with the gray, and then I take a clean wet paper towel and I wipe away some of that color, which leaves behind that dark gray and all the deep creases and lumps. Now I'm adding some color to the mask so it doesn't look so flat. You're going to see quite a few colors introduced here. You're gonna see some green, there's yellow, there's a bluish black color, I have some warm browns, and all of these colors really help to make Jason look like he's been through a lot. His mask is really beat up and it's very weathered. It's funny because when I watch this, it looks like I have no idea what I'm doing. There's just like colors all over the place. It looks a mess, but I swear it's gonna come together. I'm adding color, then I wipe it away, and then I add more color. This is so fun. It's just so fun to paint. I just get to kind of mess around and see what effect I like best. I even scrape at the chocolate with a sculpting tool, and that's gonna pick up the color, and it's letting that light ivory color show through. In most of the films, the hockey mask has 3 red triangles on it, so I'm hand painting those. There's 1 on the brow, and then there's 2 on the cheeks that are below his eyes. Making cakes that reference special effects in films is honestly one of my favorite things to do. So this cake is just extremely fun. Since I started making cakes almost 10 years ago, I've always tried to find edible versions of materials that are used in special effects. So they use latex and I use chocolate. The skin is looking a little dull to me, so I'm adding some pink to the raised areas. The mask has straps that wrap around his head. So there's 1 strap that starts at the top of the mask and it goes to the back of his head, and then there's another strap that wraps from ear to ear. I made these straps with textured gray modeling chocolate, and I'm just painting them black, and then I go in with some white on a very clean, dry brush, and I add highlights by just lightly adding brush strokes. The straps are attached to the mask with these worn metal rivets, so I'm adding those, and it's kind of nice because it's a little pop of silver. And there you have it, a Jason bust cake. I think it's looking pretty good, but we are missing one thing. Let's amp this bust up with some edible blood. This is made of strawberries cooked down with some water, cornstarch, and sugar, and then it's passed through a mesh strainer. Not only does it look neat, but it tastes delicious. So drippy. I really wish that I could cut this one for you, but it is actually made for a birthday. I don't think that the birthday girl would appreciate a cake with a piece missing. Have you subscribed to my channel yet? Because I post a new cake video every week, and I have some seriously fun ones coming up. You gotta subscribe now. And if you like this video, please like it. It helps us out and it helps us reach more people.